What's up, everybody? My name is Steve Peterson, and this is my 2014 Hyundai Veloster Turbo. And you've already noticed that I have my back seat removed. I have my back seat removed because we're finally going to find out what's in the mystery box. This is a project that I've had on my list to do for quite a while, and tonight's the night I'm going to try and see how it turns out. In this mystery box, I have purchased a dye kit or a leather recoloring kit. And I've done a little bit of internet research and found a company that seems to be mentioned a lot that seems to offer a pretty quality product. So we're going to give it a try. It was a few $100, and I figure if it doesn't turn out, then it doesn't turn out. I do have a second whole interior for the Veloster actually sitting here in my driveway. I have bought a second car last fall, and it came with an additional interior. So if I mess these seats up, I have another interior to switch out to, but let's hope that we don't mess it up. So I'm going to dive right in and get into what's in the box, what I purchased, and a little bit of the process, and then we're going to get started because I'm kind of excited to see how this project turns out. So again, I am dyeing or recoloring this leather, which is cheap leather. It's a Hyundai. We're going to go from black and we're going to go to ultra white is the ultimate goal. So if you're familiar with like Tesla, they make a color interior called ultra white. It's basically just a non-zero pigment white, and that's what we're going for. We're going to go multiple coats on this leather through a cleaning process, and then a pre-stage or an adhesion process, and then recoloring and a sealing process. So in this box is a kit that will do all of that. Let's start here. What do we got? This is 64 ounces of automotive leather dye, and this is from Luxury Leather Repair. Again, this is a 64-ounce bottle of white. The color code is RFR44. Looks like they give you a sponge. Here's another couple sponges and a scuff pad. We have a prep clean and a leather conditioning and protection cream. So there's the prep clean and conditioner coating. This is a top coat. Okay, so this is going to go on after we dye the leather. I have a leather adhesion promoter, so this is going to go on before we dye. This is that what's going to create the bond basically between the new recolor and the surface. And looks like another bottle of cleaner and conditioner with a microfiber and another scrub pad, some gloves, etc. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. So basically the process is going to be clean, scuff the surface lightly, adhesion promoter, and then we're going to recolor with multiple coats and top coat, and hopefully we end up with an ultra white interior for my Hyundai Veloster. I've never done this project before, so let's see how it turns out. So I've basically got everything down to just a few products that I need, and we'll talk about a little further as we're doing this project. But I've already gone ahead. I've got the seats out of the car. I've already removed some of the plastic pieces. This is the centerpiece that goes here on the back seat. It's like a cup holder tray thing. And then I've also removed these pieces of plastic from the back section of the seats. These go around where the latch is when the seats are up and locked. Now, again, I've never done this before, so I don't really know exactly how this is going to turn out. So I'm kind of winging it here. Get this out of the way. We're going to clean first, and I'm really not sure how this dye is going to apply. I've seen a couple videos. It looks like it can just be sponged on. I'm told it needs to be in thin coats. So we're going to go in some thin coats, and I bought a 64-ounce bottle. I did that because I messaged the company and asked them how much I would need to do my interior. and they said I could have probably got away with a little less. But since I'm going from black to white, such an extreme change, they recommended that I get the 64-ounce bottle. And they said if I have left over, it does have a shelf life. I can close it back up, just keep it under room temperature, cool, dry place. And I can use it for multiple projects, basically. Or I can do other pieces of my interior, etc. So that's going to be the goal. I'm obviously not going to use this whole 64 ounces on this interior, but at least I have it. In case something gets messed up here or I want to try this again on another vehicle, I can do so. First step, like I said, is cleaning. So I'm thinking there's quite a bit of like dust and like crumbly stuff in like all the nooks and crannies of the seat. So first things first, I'm going to air blow off the seats, get all the crap off of them that I can. And then we're going to come in with this dynamic clean. I guess it's just a spray on, wipe off type thing. The instructions just basically say it's good for all like leather surfaces, plastic, rubber, vinyls kind of thing. So we'll spray it on, we'll get the leather cleaned up here. And to do that, I'm going to just use a clean microfiber and that kind of thing. So bear with me here. I'm going to use the air and get everything all blown off. And then we can kind of go from there. Okay, we got that blown off. Let's try this dynamic clean. See how this works out. So my back seat's relatively clean. No one's ever really been sitting in my back seat. I keep my interior pretty clean in my car, so it's not probably that bad. If you have a used back seat or maybe something that's not in this kind of condition, I do recommend spending a little bit extra time really prepping and cleaning, because prepping and cleaning is going to be the deciding factor, in my opinion, on how well this product is going to turn out in the end. The more time I spend with the cleaning process, I think the product's going to adhere better, and I'll end up with the best result that way. Now my seats are perforated leather, so it does kind of soak in a little bit, but if you rub it, it looks like it's actually doing a great job of cleaning this leather. So this is also to take off any like oils or any products that you may have used in the past to condition, because you don't want any of that stuff on the leather when you go to dye or recolor. That's going to mess up the product. And you can see, I mean, it's kind of, my seats are already, again, pretty clean, so. Getting stitching really good, and any creases or crevices really good. Obviously, little dirt and stuff's gonna get built up. Okay, there's that. So we got the seats clean using the dynamic clean prep cleaner product that the company sent in the kit, and I went through and cleaned all the nooks and crannies and everything on the seat. We are now to the step of which I feel is like no return. It's the scuff stage. So from what I'm seeing, everyone just says basically just take a Scotch-Brite pad and you're just kind of scuffing up the surface on the seats, and just kind of dulling it out a little bit. You don't need to press hard. We are just gonna kind of scuff all the surfaces up. make them look all nice and uniform, and move into the next step, which will be the adhesion promotion step. Next step, adhesion, leather adhesion promoter. Get that out of the way. Grab a sponge. I think I'm going to grab a paper plate maybe. Is this open? Yeah, it's open already. Okay, so this is Luxury Leather Repair, against the company. This is leather adhesion promoter. Professional grade water-based clear protective finish coating. Do not use an wipe or spray one coat of primer. Allow to fully dry. Apply dye over primer. Okay, so we're just going to do one coat of this. It's already shaken up pretty good. Yeah, we're going to just do one coat of this and let it dry. And then we'll hop into the dye and see how that turns out, I suppose. Let me grab a paper plate. Leather adhesion promoter. I got a paper plate here. We're just going to pour a little bit of this out, I guess, onto a paper plate. And then I'll be able to kind of dab it up with the sponge on all of the surfaces here. So let's just kind of pour some of this out, I suppose. Dab this up and I guess just kind of dab it on, yeah. We'll see how this turns out. I am going to make sure that I get it up in the cracks of the leather the best I can. This leather is perforated, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect the outcome of this project. We are now clean, and we have used a very little bit so far of the leather adhesion promoter. Nice thin coat. Everything's dry now. My next step, I guess, is to move on to the leather dye or the leather recoloring process here. We're going to start with a very thin coat. I have a paper plate, my sponge, rubber gloves on. I do have a blow dryer handy. I've watched some videos. Everybody says it's safe to use a blow dryer or a heat gun to quicken up the drying process in between coats. So we're going to try that out. Hopefully that does make this process go a little quicker. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Now, you do only see my back seats here. I figured I'd just start with my back seats, see how that turns out, go from there. Hopefully this back seat turns out great, and I can just move right into doing my front seats in the same process. I just figured I'd break this whole thing up into back seat, front seat, get a feel for how this works and how many coats and things like that I'm going to need, and then do my front seats once I see how the back turns out. So I'm going to get a little bit of dye poured out here on the plate. I'm not going to go too crazy just because, again, we're doing like a thin light coat first. I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll move into second, third, fourth coats, etc. So just a little bit on the plate to start here. Go over, see how everything covers and sticks, and move on from there. Okay, so let's get all this out of the way. I did have to remove a seal that was on there. I did also make sure it was very shooken up before I just pour this out of the bottle. Let's give it another quick shake here. And yeah, we'll try using a little squirt bottle part here. Oh wow, okay, so it seems to be a pretty runny or watery type paint. Very, very, very runny. That means that this is going to go on very thin. I guess we'll go for it here. Everybody said to use a dab method. Maybe we'll use a dab method like over the stitching. I don't know if I like the dab method or the white stroke method here. Again, we're just doing a very thin layer. We're just getting the paint on the surface for now. So again, I'm using the dabbing kind of process along with kind of a light brushing motion, I guess you could say. We're not really sure which is going to work best. In the end, for like a final result, my goal here is just to kind of get an even coat throughout the whole thing. Again, very light. We want this to build up over multiple layers. But I'm already seeing that I have nowhere near enough paint out on my plate, but we'll get some more here in a second. I guess these big panels, I'm just gonna, for the sake of getting a nice even coat on here, I guess I can kind of blot it, but You notice I do have gloves on. I wasn't sure how this stuff was going to stain, so I opted for the gloves. I recommend using them. I already found when I did the adhesion promoter, I did not wear gloves, and that stuff left this like residue all over my fingertips and my fingernails and everything. So far this is pretty self-explanatory. It's not a very difficult project. I'm hoping this turns out good. If this turns out good, I may do other cars, do my other cars even. They make this product in thousands of colors. You can get OEM leather color match. You can get custom colors. I need to get some more paint here. This paint code again is RFR44. This is just an ultra white. They said there's zero pigment color in it at all. It's just white. And that's definitely what this is. If my seats come out to be this white, I am going to be extremely happy, because this is exactly what I wanted. Okay, I get some more paint here. I don't like that that's pooling dye into that crack. That's, I don't know, I'm comfortable with that. That might be too much, I don't know. Try to get some of that out of there, I guess. I'm gonna I don't know. Again, never done this before. We'll see how this turns out. This probably looks terrible right now. Again, trying to get it in the stitching and like in the crevice where the panels meet. I don't know how important that is to get like in your first coat, but turn back now. If anyone out there has ever done this before and I'm doing something wrong, feel free to comment below. I feel like when I dab it, it leaves like all these little bubbles all over the surface. I don't know how that's gonna play out in the end. See, I gotta like wipe it. See, that's so much faster. Wow, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. only thing that I don't like is the crevices where your panels kind of fuse together. It seems kind of difficult to get it even there, especially with the perforations. Just don't know how that's gonna play out in the end. I'll be honest, I'm a little stressed out. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I could be completely ruining a back seat. Could be ruining my seats completely, because I'm going to be doing my front seats as well. I will not be doing my front seats though until I know that this works. I have seen some videos of people spraying these products on with like a paint sprayer. I do not have a paint sprayer, so we are doing it the sponge way. See, the big flat panels seem nice. They're nice and easy to get a nice even covering out of it. It's the crevices that are difficult to get to look right. Okay, let's stick a fork in it. I'm going to leave that one alone for a little bit here. Let it dry. Let's do this half now. We have a first coat on the seats now. I've used very little bit of the dye so far. You can kind of see there's like this white, like a ghost haze kind of on the seats at this point. I'm going to blow dry everything real quick, get this coat dry completely, and move on to coat number 2. So far, I haven't found the right effect as far as like dabbing goes or like rubbing. It kind of seems like it's a mixture of both. I've only used one side of the sponge, keeping the other side clean where my hands would be, obviously. And it seems to be okay. I think I should have maybe masked off the plastic for the headrests. I wasn't sure how this was gonna adhere. Maybe I'll give it a couple more coats and see how it is. Worst case, I could probably clean it off of the plastic pieces that it's on, but we'll see how that goes. So let me get the blow dryer out, do a quick coat here of cover of heat, dry it out completely, and then we'll move into stage 2, and I'll see how that goes. Okay, here we go. About to start coat 2. Again, I'm going to just do a nice thin, even coat all the way throughout everything, and then probably go through another round of blow dryer to dry quickly. Let's get a bunch of paint on here this time. There we go. And let's rock and roll. Oh yeah, much better coloring now. I'm going to try to get the edges a little better now. Oh wow, yeah, this is covering much better now, this second coat. Let's try the dab process on the stitching again. That's decent. So I'm just being a little more liberal with it this time. We're getting it in there, in the cracks a little bit better. Still trying to keep it smooth. I'm seeing bubbles, little bubbles when you dab it. So like just trying to get rid of those, but still get it in all the crevices. Again, I've never done this before, so this has been kind of a learning process, a little bit of research, watching some other people do this project. I have yet to watch anyone do black to white. Everybody seems to be doing colors. Again, this company does make thousands of colors. They make color match, custom color, all kinds of stuff. So this is, again, one more time, Luxury Leather Repair. I'm not sponsored by them. I just happened across their product and watched some other people using their product and decided to go with this one. I don't know that this is the best or the worst, but you don't know until you try something, right? You can see the second coat is definitely darkening up the white. I can see how multiple layers will really allow you to get, I think, the desired finish. Yeah. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing. I'm not worrying too much about getting it on this black, like there's this like not leathery fabric. You're really not going to see this. I might try to get the edges because some of it you will see, but most of it you're not going to see on these seats, so I'm not like freaking out about, I don't know, maybe I should get that too, huh? Yeah, I should probably get that area too, huh? I don't know if you can use this stuff on that, but I have noticed that if you rub it after it's dry, it actually takes coating off. You need to like let it dry completely. Like once it gets tacky, you don't want to like touch it again. And there we have coat number 2 on the bottom half of the seat. Voila. Let's start coat 3. Coat 2 seems to have covered pretty decent. This is, like I said, coat number 3. I'm going to keep them still thin coats. I feel like this is going to be a process. But it so far seems to be good. I mean, it seems to be like adhering well to the leather. It looks like it's starting to fill in. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Again, this is coat 3, so I'm gonna pour quite a bit on my plate this time. Getting a hang of how much I'm using each round. Okay, that should be good. Same sponge. I haven't changed sponges. It's, I don't know, maybe about a quarter damp. Oh yeah, there we go. Day 2 of seat recoloring. I had to stop last night. It got a little late and I had to work today. I stopped at coat 4 and let the seats dry overnight. I came home today and everything seems to be adhered pretty good. Like you can see, I'm able to kind of flex the leather and everything. I did notice there's like these like little nibs almost that you can kind of feel in places. I'm wondering if that's maybe where there was bubbles left that I didn't get out completely. So what I did is I went and I took 400 grit sandpaper, just like a 400 grit, like a foam backed sandpaper, and just kind of knocked down some of the nibs that I could feel with my hand in spots before I start my next coat. I didn't want to just keep adding paint on top of those nibs. There's a couple spots that are kind of questionable. Maybe I didn't clean them good enough. I'm hoping that I get some extra coverage on here and they look good. But again, I'm at coat 4 right now, dry. I've used, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the jug. It just seems to be kind of a water-based type paint. Not really sure. We'll give it a shake before we get going here. Again, I'm about to start a coat 5. Depending on how well coat 5 covers is going to decide whether I do, like a 6 or a 7, I think. We'll see. I am using the same sponge. I did rinse it out last night before it got dried up. I gave it a good rinse with like cold water. I didn't use any chemicals. I just used water. Again, this seems to be kind of a water-based type paint. So washable. I got new plates. And let me grab some gloves and we'll get started. The overall process has been pretty straightforward so far. It's been just kind of take your time, get even coats on, and make sure that it's fully dry in between coats. You can speed this up with a blow dryer. I have been doing so, but even that, it's still time consuming just to get all the surfaces covered equally. After I sanded with the 400, I did already blow all my surfaces off with air. Oh, I kind of missed one right there. Let's see if I can get that off real quick. Again, just very lightly. So that one just kind of ripped off a little bit, but again, real light sanding, and that seems to come off that way. Get the glasses off, and let's pour and see how the next few coats come out, I guess. In there. Yeah, okay. So one thing I do want to point out, one thing I don't care about on my seats is like this end here, because on this car it's tucked up against the side plastic inside the car on the driver's side, and you'll never see it once it's installed in the car. So I wasn't really worried too much about running over on that, or like blotting onto it or trying to make that white as well, because again you don't see it at all. I do want to make sure that I get the front good here, like all the way down, because this is the part that meets up to the carpet on the floor. And if there's parts there that aren't even, then you're going to notice that. But there's a few places, like here in the center as well, there's the plastic cup holder thing that goes in here, so you don't see any of that. So I'm not worried about bleed over or run over onto that. Same thing with the backs of the seats. There's the ends that are kind of like a carpety type fabric as well. I wasn't really too concerned about getting it on that, because again, when the seats are installed, you don't really see it. Worst case, I'll come up with an idea how to get rid of the white, but maybe I'll dye the black. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But for now, I'm not really too worried about it. Even along the back here of the seat, you can see where it's kind of bled over. I'm not worried about that. Again, you won't see it once the seats are installed back in the car. I'm going to get like half of this done, and then I'm going to get a camera zoomed in here and let you actually see the difference between coats. It definitely seems to be like slow and steady wins the race with this. The longer you take your time, or the more you take your time, I think the better your result is going to be, period. Kind of missed a spot there. I do feel like perforated leather with all the little holes makes this project kind of difficult. I've noticed it's definitely harder to get even coverage on the perforated portion of the leather compared to the smooth portion of the leather, which I don't know, I think I would prefer smooth leather completely, but most leather nowadays does have some perforated panels in it, so do pay attention to that when you go to decide whether you want to go this route with dyeing or color changing, for sure. Let's get you guys up in here close, give you a little bit better of a look of the surface, and you can kind of see what kind of coverage I'm getting. So this is the bottom half of the seat. Again, this is coat 5 up to around here so far. I want you to see the difference. Actually, you see my line right there. So that's coat 4 over here, and from here this way is all coat 5. You can see that it's kind of glossy. It's very, very hard to see, but it's kind of glossy when it's wet, and then when it dries, you get this kind of a chalky finish. Okay, now I want to get you in nice and close here because I want to show you a couple things. I don't know if this right here is caused by bad cleaning or prepping. I'm noticing like this whole kind of crevice right here is not looking that great right now. I mean, it's adhering, but for some reason it just doesn't look that great. So maybe on my next round here I may add just a little bit of extra product just along like the seams a little bit, maybe to darken them up before I do everything else. Again, I think that might be caused because maybe I didn't clean enough in that corner when I did the pre-wipe down. Kind of the same thing over here. You can see how like all the crevices in this corner here, even just a slight little bit of like a peel away almost right there. Now I can't catch my fingernail or anything on it. It doesn't seem to want to scratch away. Again, the surface seems like it's very adhered to the leather. I'm interested to see how this holds up long term in the car once it's sealed and everything with the top coat. Now again, I haven't touched these yet. These are still dry from last night. These were stopped at coat 4, and you'll see kind of the same thing going on here. You can see here where it's adhering, but it's not covering very well. This was one of those like nibs that I like caught my fingernail on and was able to kind of scratch away.
Hopefully I can get that covered back up. There's another one right there. A couple like right here. These are from like when I sanded all those off. Matter of fact, I can still kind of feel right there. You can kind of feel that there's these little nibs on here that I think were caused by air bubbles. I'm not too concerned about it. I will be using probably another 400 grit sanding session after I do this coat 5 on all of these seats and they dry. But again, my goal this round is to get nice good coverage. You can see there's the difference between 4 and 5 coats. Okay, so let me get you back on the stand over here and we will get going. Okay, we are back in business. So again, I'm up to 5 coats from here that way. There's definitely a clearly defined line between the two. I'm focusing this round more on the seams, trying to get kind of a good coverage in those before I even worry about the bigger panels. My next coat, coat 6, I think. Well, I don't know. Well, let's see how 5 goes. Let's get through coat 5 first before we start talking about coat 6. I'm gonna kind of try to get these spots as well where it's not quite covering that great. See if I can't get that to cover better, so that going into the next round it's a little more even. Okie dokie. Coat 5 is done and dry. And you can see coat 5 really did start covering nicely. There's still some spots, obviously, on these where you can see the black. So we're going to do another coat. That'll be 6. And see how that looks then. I may end up doing 7 coats just to get a nice even solid coat on everything. But looking pretty good. I'm actually impressed by how well this stuff is adhering. Again, you can see I can pinch the leather, I can scratch the leather with like my fingernail. I actually just took 400 grit. What is this? Was this 400? 320 grit sandpaper on a block. I didn't press hard, but I did just kind of knock some of the, again, there's like some little nibs that you can feel here and there when you're running your hand along it. It's like it's not perfectly smooth. There's not a lot of them, but just here and there. I'm used the 320 to just kind of knock all those down. And then this next coat should go on nice and smooth and really start to even out the color now. I think I'm going to do 7 coats probably, just because I don't know, we'll see how 6 goes. Again, this is moving into coat 6. Okay, we are back with pretty much, I'm ready for my last coat, I think, based off of the coverage. I just wanted to show you what I've been doing in between coats. This is 320 grit sandpaper that I have stuck to just like a foam sanding block, and I just want to show you, this is dry, obviously, everything's dry, but I'm able to literally 320 grit sandpaper on this surface,
and really kind of smooth it out. And there's these little like bubbly spots here and there, not all over the place, but here and there. I'm able to knock those spots down so that when I go to do my next coat goes on nice and smooth, and kind of blends those little specks. It also helps, especially on the perforated spots, because there seems to be a lot of those. But again, you're able to really, you know, that's how awesome this stuff is. It seems like it's pretty durable. It's definitely adhered itself to the surface really well. I'm impressed. Let's get this last coat on. Really kind of blend it out. There's still some blotchy spots here and there that I want to try to get kind of more even. But yeah, it's turning out pretty good. I think this is not bad.
Here we are, final product. I do still need to use the top coat sealer, but as you can see, nearly no bleed through. I feel like the spots that you can really just slightly see are maybe like the perforated panels, but I mean from above, everything looks fantastic. Awesome covering. Okay, so I will be still doing my front seats, but this is the top coat that I'm talking about. It's a low gloss. I didn't really want like a glossy finish on this leather, so it's gonna be like a semi gloss, but I think these turned out awesome. Yeah. Okay, so in conclusion, here we have the back seats installed. I did go back and do one more like coat just to even out and fully cover the back seats. I felt like I was having a little bit of inconsistency in the perforated panels, where you could still very vaguely see blotches of the black coloring showing through. So I went back and did the whole back seat again, the top and the bottom back, with another coat, and then I top coated. One thing I do wish I would have done while before I started dyeing was maybe try to take care of these dimple spots that are kind of pressed into the leather permanently. I've researched a little bit and found that heat, so like a heat gun or a blow dryer, would reduce those and get the leather to kind of go back to its natural shape. Obviously cleaning and conditioning does help, but my understanding is like a heat gun or a blow dryer on high heat will help reduce those. Now obviously if you use a heat gun, you don't want to leave it in one spot for too long because it will scorch the leather and ruin it permanently. But applying some heat in areas and obviously moving the blow dryer around will help that. So there's the back seat installed. Here's the back of the front seats. I think they turned out phenomenal. And then here are my front seats. Now, when it came to doing my front seats, I did my passenger seat separately from my driver's seat. So I did my passenger seat like all at once, and then took a break, and then on a separate day, I did my driver's seat. And I feel like by the time I got to doing my front seats, I really had dialed the technique in quite a bit with using the sponge and air and blow dryer and things like that in between coats. I found that using a 400 grit sandpaper in between every single coat of dye really allowed me to smooth out my leather. I mean, this leather feels like OEM. Like, you would never be able to tell that this leather was coated by any means, in my opinion. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. So I did my front seats and my center console lid. There's kind of a close-up of the center console lid. I think it turned out really well. Also, there's the texture still in all the leather. You can see there's kind of a good close-up there. And then on top of that, I also did redo the blue coloring on the stitching or the embroidery in the seats. And for that, I just used a fabric marker. And, you know, obviously I did that before I sealed the seats with the top coat. Top coat went on pretty easy, basically exactly like the dye. I did 3 coats of top coat on my front seats and 2 coats of top coat on my back seat. Hopefully that'll be enough. I'm really happy with how these turn out. I think this is a project that really anyone can do. It cost me, all in all, to do my front and back seats and center console I lost track. It was under $400 total for all the dye and materials. I did buy some different sponges and things like that to do this project. But everything turned out really great. Very happy with how this went. These are my friends here. I recommend maybe picking up some of these if you're doing this project, because the sponge that they give you does not necessarily get into all of the nooks and crannies. So that's just some of the tips that I have. I think they turned out fantastic. My name is Steve Peterson. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Find me on Instagram as well. It's Steve the Woody Peterson.